Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Morgan Show. Your place, your space for all things Morgan State athletics. We're about to embark on a fun journey, and we want you along for the ride. My name is Lamont Germany, along with my co-host, Cayla Sweazie. It's that time of the year, Cayla, my favorite time of the year. Morgan State athletics is about to get jump-started, and we have the pleasure of bringing play for play, down for down, dribble for dribble to the Morgan State athletic family.
Yes, I could not be more excited. This season is long awaited with COVID and everything that happened. We're finally here. We're finally back on campus, and we're ready to dive right into it. This Saturday, we have one of the biggest games in school history, and we're going to get into that, give you some more information on that. As a student athlete and as a multimedia journalism major, I'm super excited to have my worlds collide and to get some sports coverage for you all.
Not just any old student athletes. You got a championship that you can boast about, Cayla. You are a part of that record-setting championship softball team that won it all in the MEAC this past spring. Got to tell me what that was like. How did that feel?
It was definitely a super surreal experience to be a part of that team. That's something that we've been working for towards our whole life. And just to be here, be a part of that historic team, make history, and get the first MEAC championship for the softball team, and get to go to Oklahoma and play the top-ranked team who ended up winning the whole tournament. It was just a great experience.
We hope to collect some more championships here at Morgan State University. And Cayla, we're going to talk to some individuals who may be key in that process. Coming up, we're going to engage the Morgan State football coach, Tyrone Wheatley, as he prepares to take on the Towson Tigers this weekend. Bears are going to be opening up at home. We shall also talk to Ramona Riley-Bozier, head coach volleyball here at Morgan State. Her ladies have already been on the floor. We'll talk about their tournament this past weekend, and she's going to bring along a student athlete, Kendal Hoges. We'll engage Kendal about her journey to Morgan State. We'll have all that and more coming up next right here on The Morgan Show. Welcome back. This is the Morgan Show, Lamont Germany, along with Cayla Sweazie. And Cayla, up first, we're going to talk a little Morgan State football. Is that okay with you?
Yes, that's okay with me.
We got somebody, Cayla, who just might know as much about Morgan football as we do. You know, it's hard to find somebody like that, but we may have that guy with us. He is in his third year, second season as the head man in charge of Morgan State football. Coach Wheatley is in the house. Coach, we appreciate you coming by and paying us a visit today.
Happy to be here.
I'm counting, Coach. It's been 651 days between the last time Morgan played a football game and the next time against Towson. I remember when you stepped off the field against Howard down in D.C. a couple of years ago. Here we go again after nearly 2 years. How does it feel to finally get back into the fray?
Well, the theory of relativity is in full effect, right? Seemed like yesterday, but it's been how many days?
651.
God, dog. 651,
Yes,
but it
sir.
seems like yesterday. So the theory of relativity is in full effect. But no, it is great to be lining back up. You know, the young men have been hitting each other, going against each other, almost like civil rivalry in the locker room, you know. That locker room is getting small. They're tired of seeing each other. Now they're just ready to face off against someone else. So right now, I'm their biggest fan, and I can't wait to see them play.
In that intervening 2 years, Coach, there has been a massive turnover in the roster. I was going through the names, maybe about 7, 8, 9 guys that I recognize from that 2019 team. Tell me about the influx of the newbies and how they are progressing towards being that team I know you want them to be.
Transfusion, right? New blood in, old blood out. And not to say anything bad about the guys that were here. It's just like anything else. The culture, there's a cultural fit. There's a systematic fit. And just at the end of the day, it's just some guys are ready for something new. But however, we're bringing guys in, like we said first, cultural. We want to build a culture here. We have our 3 core values: accountability, dependability, and availability, right? We want guys to be able to hold people accountable. And some people are just not comfortable with that right now. You know, they're not comfortable with telling someone to walk. Just the simple things is if you walk past a piece of trash, even though you didn't put it down, pick it up and put it in there. This is our family. This is our home. This is who we are. This is our den. you must take care of it, right? So if I can take care of you off the field, imagine what I would do for you on the field. All the small things, all those little things go together. And so a lot of guys just wasn't really, wanted to buy into that, right? And as we talk about the buy-in, we also talk about Morgan as a stock. As any company, you want to buy into your company. You want to invest in your company. And as that company rises, right, the stock rises. And whatever you have in there, you can draw from it, right? But as soon as that company starts to dip, everybody wants to bail ship. But we have some guys who stayed in, that was tried and true. Even through COVID, they were in, they bought in, locked in, ready to go. So I'm excited.
Yes, and Coach, I have to ask, this is your first time coaching against Towson, and as you know, the battle for Greater Baltimore is a very historic game for both schools. What do you think the key to success for winning Saturday is?
Well, I think both teams, right now, it's the unknown, meaning as we had an influx of new talent, they also have. Flacco was there in 2019. Right now, they're trying to figure out who their quarterback is. Same, so there's a lot of new. Right now, I think what you talk about the keys to success is both of us just playing our football game, especially for us. We don't really have to understand who they are. We know who we are. We understand what we're going to do, and we have to do it to the best of our ability, play with great detail, great discipline, and there's going to be some ups and downs. But as long as our valleys are not below average, we should be okay. So if we play at a high intensity, and like I say, once we do have some dips, as long as those dips don't go below average, we'll be okay.
Yes, and fans are finally allowed back in Hughes Stadium. How do you think this will impact the game? What will the energy do to your team?
As with any game, we need that 12th man. 12th person, I'm sorry. 12th person. We need that 12th person. The 12th person is the fans. The fans. We need the place rocking. We need screams. We need yells. We need chants. We need everything. The band is on point. See the band working hard. They're getting ready. So I would really, really love to see the, Hughes Stadium rocking.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see it rocking. So that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, one thing I noticed throughout the course of fall camp, you had a significant infusion of Morgan boosters, players from yesteryear, who kind of gave the big bear hug to the current players. How important is that connection, that the young men who are playing for you now do have that connection with the Bears who came before them?
I think it's very important. I don't think these young men understand the hollow ground that they walk upon, the history that Morgan, I don't think they understand. And so getting the guys from the past to come on, right? They're a little grayer, a little older, look a little different, but at the same time, those numbers are the same. And they walk the same corridors, sat in some of the, not in the newer buildings, but sat in some of the older buildings, right? And they understand what it means to be a Morgan Bear. They understand. So although I am a Morgan Bear, I am not an original Bear. So for me, it behooves me to bring back the original people to understand what it means to sing that fight song. So it just, and to see the faces of yesteryear connected to now, the young man can now look and see that they care, right? They care. There are people out who care about us, who want to see us win and want to see us succeed. And that's a great deal, because now you can connect. You can connect the past to the future. So,
Coach, you're making that transition now from fall camp to preparing for a specific opponent in Towson. Give me a sense of how camp went. Did the men buy in? Are they checking the boxes? Effort, energy, attention to detail?
I tell you, they are. They're checking all the boxes. Like I said, they're fully invested right now. They're fully invested. They check the boxes. Right now, it's really it's just making sure that they're okay with themselves, meaning it's okay. You haven't played football in almost 2 years. It's okay to make a mistake, but just don't make it often, right? It's okay. Just go. And I told him earlier today, it's like that dog that's been cooped up in the house for months. And as soon as I take that leash off, hit it and go. Don't look back. I want to tell you go. I don't want to tell you whoa. And as you're moving full speed and you make those mistakes full speed, I can correct them. I can correct a full speed mistake. I can correct an aggressive mistake. I can correct an intent. I'm talking a little football right now, so it might get a little violent, but I can correct a mistake if your intent is to run through somebody's face mask. But if you're going up there to play patty cake, that can't be corrected. And right now, we're ready to play some football.
Yes, and it's been a year since we've seen the Bears take the field. We're keeping an eye out for some key players. What went into your decision selecting Neil Boudreau as the starting quarterback?
Well, Neil has been here. He's put in the work, but at the same time, your quarterback is really, he's the field general. He's going to manage the game, and that's what Neil is doing right now, the best of all the quarterbacks. And don't get me wrong, we have some really good quarterbacks, but Neil is doing the best right now is just managing the game. What I mean by managing the game, if a bad place, don't make a bad play worse, right? We talked about our mistakes. If there's a mistake out there, he understands how to correct that mistake and how to take adversity and not make it worse. And so right now, he's the guy that I feel really safe with handing the keys over to the car, and making sure that I get back home safe. So that's why I chose Neil Boudreaux.
Yes, and I heard you say we have some more talent at that position. How deep are we with the quarterbacks? Can you let me know?
I don't want to give out too much information, but we're pretty deep. We're pretty deep. I will say this. We have 2 young men, 2 freshmen that are in right now. Malcolm Brown and Deuce. Phenomenal young guys. I would tell you, future is very bright for these young men. Future is very bright, but we're deep. We're pretty deep.
Let me put you on the spot, Coach. You know a good football team when you see it. You know a bad football team when you see it. What are you seeing?
We're damn
Morgan State 2021
good football team. We're a good football team. We are a good football team. And I tell you, as we grow through this season and then through the future, I would tell you, as we talked about a stock, you want to buy in now. Don't be late bandwagon jumpers now. Don't do that. But we'll accept you if you come in late as well. I don't care. As long as you're there with us. But no, we're a good football team. We're a real good football team.
That's a head man in charge, Tyrone Wheatley, in his 3rd year, 2nd season as Morgan State University football coach. We're going to let him go because he got work to do. He got to devise a plan to beat Towson. Coach, we appreciate the visit.
No, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much.
Coach Tyrone Wheatley and the Bears in action on Saturday, September 4th, 4 o'clock. Kickoff at Hughes Stadium, Earl C. Banks Field. When we come back, Cayla and I will engage with a sport that has already been in play. Yeah, they got games under their belt already. Morgan State University volleyball. We're going to talk to the head coach. Her name, Ramona Riley-Bozier. That's up next, right here on The Morgan Show. Welcome back to The Morgan Show. Lamont Germany alongside Cayla Sweazie. We move on. I hope you're ready for some volleyball, Morgan State style. Lady Bears, as a matter of fact, have already been on the hardwood, hosted a tournament this past weekend, and we are joined here on the Morgan Show by the lady who runs the ship, Ramona Riley-Bozier, head coach, Morgan State University volleyball. I'm checking my calendar, Coach, and I believe it's been 34 years.
Wow.
Has it been that long? You don't look a day over 33. That's the thing that's puzzling me. And I guess that's where I'll start, Coach. What is your why after 34 years? What drives you, keeps you committed, passionate, involved, engaged after 34 years of doing this?
Yeah, well, in 34 years, the why has always been something different. And every year it is something different. But one of the things that really hasn't changed is that I do enjoy working with young people and watching them grow from when the first time they step on the campus until when they graduate and where they at, what they're doing. You and I just having a little small talk talking about one of our former players, who's in law school. And those are the things that excite me the most. And I like to know that, I had something to do with that process and helping that person get where they're at right now. So that's generally always the one why that I have every year.
Well, this past year has been different than the other 33 because of COVID. You had to make some changes. There were challenges, there were adjustments for all of us, but obviously specific to your program. You had to play in the spring. Yeah. You actually had competition and competing for a championship in the spring, and then turn right around and have to play your regular fall schedule. What was that like in terms of preparation, evaluation, the uncertainty of not knowing, of knowing, of maybe not? What did that do to the program throughout the course of the past year?
It was definitely difficult, and I knew us going in that that's just what it would be. And like you said, the unknown. We started where we can come in the summer, and then it got to, okay, we can come in September. And then it led to we can do a few practices in October. So we did take advantage of doing that for maybe about 3 or 4 practices that we had in October. And then November we were given an opportunity to practice maybe a couple of weeks, and not able to really do what we wanted to do, but we had an opportunity to actually get on the court. But as you said, it was the unknown, and then to go home Christmas break, which is like my favorite time of the year as a coach, because it's like a 5-week Christmas break to me, because the students are gone. It gives me a chance to like regroup. But that didn't happen this time. We were right back, right at the start of the year in January. And honestly, I really didn't like playing in the spring because it was cold. So, but it was very different and an adjustment for the athletes to have to make too. As you stated, it wasn't something that we were accustomed to doing. But, one of the things that I try to explain to the athletes is like, no complaints. This is what the cards that are dealt. Let's just play them out and let's just see what happens.
So, Coach, your team has some games under their belt, and you guys got to play this weekend. I know that you weren't able to get your first win. What was your overall assessment of your team's performance?
That we have some talent. We really do. I think we're a better team than what we were in the spring, but I also think we're a better team than we were, at the end of the year before. It is a very, very young team. We brought back 8 players, and then we brought in 8 new. And I think we're still at a point where we're not quite sure what our lineup should look like. So the lineup changed a few times. We do have, I feel like, one of our key players, or a player who I think is really going to be able to help us. Unfortunately, she's not cleared to play at this time. So I think if we can get her back, and then we can really start to learn each other, kind of come up with what we may feel like a concrete lineup would be, I think the outcome would be a little different than what it was this past weekend.
Okay, and with some games coming up this weekend, what do you think your team needs to do to be successful and potentially get your first win?
So what I had talked to the athletes about, as well as my assistant coach, is that, we got to go back to some basics. I am more of a drill-oriented coach. I like running drills and where it becomes muscle memory. And I think we went away from that a little bit. And I think that is the goal for this week, is that, I need to see that you can do it right, multiple times before we start playing. Because as soon as the balls get going, competition starts rolling, all the footwork, all the technique, everything just goes. So let's go back to some basics. I feel like we have time to be able to do that. And I think we'll look a lot better this upcoming weekend.
Coach, let's talk about some of those newbies. I had a chance to see them in action this past weekend. Mm-hmm. Some of the young ladies wearing the orange and the blue for the first time. I got a little excited about the potential. Okay. By name, Justin Jackson, who was named to the all-tournament team. Mm-hmm. Madison Grace, an outside who looks like she has some potential to be an extremely explosive player. And obviously you need a setter. You need somebody that sets the table. And you had the young lady, Mackenzie Jefferson, get her first burn, as it were, at setter for Morgan. Talk about some of those ladies, what their contributions are going to be moving forward as the program develops.
So we'll start with Justice Jackson. I do think that she's someone who's going to come in and help us. And that was an area that I feel like we had been weak in the last couple of years, of having 2 solid middles, regardless of what the lineup is, that we can get some contribution from either middle who's in the front row. And I think right now she is capable of doing that for us. I think she's a pretty smart player. And I think she's also going to do a good job defensively with putting up some solid blocks. She's not one of the bigger middles, but I think she is smart. Right now she's kind of getting accustomed to the tempo that we want to run. So we need to get her moving just a little faster. And I think once she can get that down consistently, I think she could be a force to be reckoned with. You also mentioned Madison Grace, who's a true freshman coming right out of high school. And it was so funny. There was a challenge call, and she's like, oh my God, this is like my first time experience a challenge call. So I thought it was really cute. And as a coach, you have to sometimes remember, like, oh my God, these kids are still very young, and Madison is still 17 years old. So she hasn't even turned 18. But I think she's going to be a really good player. We put her in the 0-1 position, so that means she's going to take a lot of swings. And I think she's learning what to do with the ball when it's not a good set. And I don't think she's quite there, but I do believe in the next few tournaments that we have coming up, she's definitely going to be that force to be reckoned with. And as you mentioned, I have to. I'm stumbling over the names because there's so many M's on our team and so many J's on our team, and you should hear me in practice. So with Mackenzie Jefferson, our setter, yes, we've been going back and forth. We're running a 6-2 offense, which means we have two setters. But Mackenzie's a little more seasoned than Trinity right now. But I do think that once we can get Mackenzie to get herself in a little better shape, and but she's smart, very smart. She can run an offense, and I feel pretty confident that she's going to do a good job for us in running the offense.
This past weekend, Coach, we had people in the building, fans in the stands, cheering and hollering and screaming and acting crazy. Did you miss them? Is it good to have people back?
I'm one of those, if the fans are there, great. If they're not, I always tell the athletes, create your own energy. But it was nice to hear it. And on Friday, that was amazing. Hearing them understanding, they were yelling at the referees like boo, on the call. So that's always kind of nice. And so it is good, because to me, having the fans in the stands, meaning that we're trying to work to get back to what appeared to what once was normalcy. So as long as we still see them, then we know that we're okay. COVID hasn't gotten to us, just yet. So, and I shouldn't say just yet. I don't want to speak that into existence, but it was nice to know that they were there.
So, Coach, at one point you coached volleyball and softball. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine how big of a commitment that was. Can you tell me some challenges you faced?
Oh, wow. Yeah, the athletes, they were always mad with me. When volleyball season was over, they felt like in the fall, Coach, where are you at? We need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. And then softball felt the same way. When they were in season, when they were off season, Coach, where you at? We need to be doing this. So it was challenging every day. I was never home. At that time, my husband was my assistant coach. Sometimes my kids would have to be there with us. And, it got to a point, it wasn't fair to the athletes for me sharing that time. So it was a decision that had to be made. And so I had to go talk to administration and say, hey, this is a little bit, too overwhelming for me. But it was fun, because that created me having a greater family of athletes that I'm in touch with, on a regular basis, those softball athletes that played for me.
Okay, and we see the MEAC shifting. We see a lot of teams leaving. It looks very different now. How does that affect your team and your season?
I don't think it really affects us, because the bottom line is that the Northern Division is the toughest division to, if you want to get to a championship, you're going to have to beat somebody in the North. Mm-hmm. I feel like every single one of us are very strong. Not to take anything away from the South, because I've been in this conference for a very long time when the South was the dominant division, and then it was Morgan. So it would be the South very dominant, and then Morgan State. And now in this case, the North is just a very tough division to play in. So, I'm not really too concerned about, the decision that A&T, FAMU, and Bethune-Cookman made. I think it's great for their program, whatever their direction that they're trying to move in. But for us, we're just trying to get through the North Division. So maybe if some of those would have Seaford out, then, my response would probably be a little different.
Coach, next challenge this weekend at Towson. You got a tournament with some competitive teams. I think Princeton, Loyola, Stony Brook, among the teams in that tournament. What has to happen between now and then to have a little bit better outcome?
Absolutely. Well, we are definitely going to have a better outcome. If we don't pick up the W's, we will look a lot better than what we looked this past weekend. Although we had some really amazing moments, it's just not enough good, amazing moments to get the W's. But this weekend practice, like I said earlier, the goal is for us to go back to some basics and do some footwork, some technical things, and make sure that we have that down. And we talked about, staying lifted. This was just one weekend. This is not the time to, start looking who we're going to blame, who didn't do this, who didn't do that. It's about, let's take accountability for ourselves. And if there's a way we can hold our teammates accountable, then let's make that happen. So we're gonna look a lot better than what we did this past weekend.
Coach Ramona Riley-Bozier, 34 years and going strong. Coach, nobody in any sport in the history of Morgan State University has coached for 34 years. You're the only one to do that.
And you're the one who always remind me.
And nobody in the history of Morgan State has 476 wins.
Wow.
So they got some statues over on the other side. They may have to get ready for another one. But you ain't ready to quit yet.
Not just yet.
You still got it going on.
No, I need to see what this class in the next couple of years, what we look like and what we're going to do. Because I feel like if we can, stay together as one, I really believe that we're going to be one of those top teams. We're going to get back to being that top team again in the conference consistently, not just 1 year and then off 2 years. So,
Coach Bozier, we're going to let you go. Matter of fact, when we come back, we're going to talk to one of your student athletes. She's going to tell us what it's really like to play for Ramona Riley-Bozier.
all right. I can't wait to hear.
When we come back, indeed, we are going to be joined by Morgan State University student athlete, one of the ladies who played for Coach Bozier, Lamont Germany, Cayla Sweazie. We move on. This is The Morgan Show. Welcome back to The Morgan Show. Lamont Germany along with Cayla Sweazie. And of course, you can't have Morgan State University athletics without the student athletes. And Cayla, we are so pleased to have with us one of those student athletes here at Morgan State University. She is the 6-foot middle blocker from West Orange, New Jersey. Jersey's in the house. It's always a good thing when Jersey's in the house.
Always.
Kendal Hoges is here. Kendal, welcome.
Thank you.
First question for you is, how'd you get here? Take me on that journey from Jersey to Morgan. How'd that happen?
From Jersey to Morgan? Well, the journey is actually Jersey to Florida.
To Morgan. Oh, a little detour.
A little detour. A little deep detour. So, out of high school, I went to a JUCO. That's a community college for students that just want to get better to get to a university. So I went to, it's called Palaca, St. John's River State College in Palaca, Florida. It's by Jacksonville. So I was there for 2 years. Got an A degree, and I hit up Coach during the MEAC championship, and that's where my journey to Morgan started.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
I had my first opportunity to see Kendal in action this past weekend in the tournament. You got a little nasty about you at the net. It's kind of like, this is my net type of attitude on the floor. How would you describe what kind of player you are when it's game time?
When it's game time, I could definitely be a little aggressive. I take the game seriously. I like to win. I like to be there for my teammates, but through the net, you can't see past the poker face.
So, Kendal, from one student athlete to another, I know what it's like to win, I know what it's like to lose. How would you assess your performance individually this past weekend and then your team?
Individually, there's always something that could be worked on. I feel like we're starting to get back into the groove from coming back from COVID season. So I wouldn't say I played my best, but like I said, there's always something that we could do better. Team-wise, we just need a little bit more connections with each other. That's just getting reps in practice, maybe getting some extra reps, whoever wants to stay after. But I think this weekend we saw how well we can be later on in the season. So.
And as a senior, how are you stepping up to your leadership position on your team?
As a senior, so I'm not going off of the culture I got last year, but seeing how the culture was and the team, how everyone just interacted with each other, I'm trying to bring that to the team this year. So being the senior, I like to make sure everyone's together or see if there's things that we can do or whoever wants to hang out, just make sure everyone feels like a family.
Let's talk about Kendal and COVID. I mean, how's this past year been for you on the court, off the court, transitioning, having to deal with all the challenges, the stop, the goes, the maybes? How's that transition been for you?
The COVID season was very out of the ordinary. It was just practice, weights, home, repeat. So that was the life that we were living during COVID season. It was definitely something to experience, and I appreciate having our COVID season because we definitely could have shut down. So going off of that, just getting the time to play and having the opportunity was very good.
Let's take Kendal off the floor. What's your major? What are you looking to do once you have walked across the stage and earned your degree here at Morgan State?
Well, so nutritional science is just a little backup.
So
that's for the
oh, you got a
background.
plan A and a plan B.
Yeah, that's the plan C.
Oh, okay.
So nursing is actually my plan A. So once I graduate, I plan on going to nursing school. So hopefully to become a NICU nurse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. If I get hurt, I know I'll be in good hands.
So you got to bring your baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand.
Prenatal.
I understand. Okay. I got you. I got you. Gonna bring some company with me. You got another tournament coming up this weekend. Across town against Towson. You've been on the floor against Towson. You know about them. Princeton, Loyola, I think Stony Brook are also in that tournament. What has to happen differently for Kendal in particular and for this team to be better this weekend against Towson?
For me in particular, it just has to be discipline. Also, just have to be a leader on the court more and not take my mistakes and take it to heart and show it on the court. Instead, hit the ball with how I feel is what I personally am going to do. But for the team, it just has to be, we just have to be disciplined. We have to trust everyone. We have to talk. And I think we'll be fine, honestly, with all the reps that we're going to get. We just need time with each other is all it is.
Going to be on the road for the first time. I think you ladies aren't back home for about another month. But when they return, ladies and gentlemen, you want to keep your eyes on the middle. That's where Kendal holds it down. Kendal, we appreciate you paying us a visit. Good luck against Towson in the tournament this weekend. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Kendal Hoges, Lady Bear from Jersey. She and her teammates going to be in action, as mentioned, this weekend in Towson, Maryland. Towson campus, back-to-back tournament weekends for the Lady Bears. We definitely wish them success. When we come back, Cayla and I are going to wrap this bad boy up. It's been a fun ride as we wrap up the first week and get you set for week number 2. This is The Morgan Show. Welcome back. This is The Morgan Show. Lamont Germany along with Cayla Sweazie. Cayla, that was fun. Engaging the coaches, student athlete. Got me juiced up, got me ready to go, got me ready to jump start. I want to put on some orange and blue right now and get this thing started.
Yeah, that was super exciting. Being the one who typically plays to get some more information and see what their seasons may look like, I'm pumped. I'm super excited.
One of the things I really get excited about is some of the new folks who are going to be on the rosters of the various teams. I'm always anxious about what they bring to the table. We'll get to see some of the new football players, the new volleyball players. I want to see some of your new teammates on the softball team and whether or not we can win another championship. You know, when you win one championship, they want you to keep doing it year after year. And, of course, you need reinforcements to make that happen. I'm just excited to get this thing started.
Yeah, I definitely think with the transfers, the new freshmen mixed with returners, there's a lot of potential for teams all across the board for Morgan Athletics. Every
step of the way will keep you informed here on The Morgan Show. Next week, we'll chronicle what happened. Morgan State against Towson on the football field. We'll chronicle what happened for that volleyball team as they'll be playing a tournament over at Towson this coming weekend. And we'll keep you informed every step of the way as Morgan makes their athletic journey through the 2021-2022 season. For Cayla Sweazie, I'm Lamont Germany. Until we talk again, go Bears.